Hello, I'm Lindsay and I'm the 13th Witch. It has been a long minute. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. If you are one of the few people who've seen me before, hello, welcome back. I haven't posted for a while because just like the rest of you, I've been dealing with a global pandemic and everything that comes along with that. And wow, that takes a lot out of you. So I hope you're all doing well. I'm certainly starting to feel a little better about the state of the world. We'll see how I feel in like a month-ish, less at this point. Anyway, if you are anything like me and a lot of people, because it's now a trend during this global pandemic, you've been trapped inside. And if you've been in a place where you don't have access to the outdoors readily, you've probably hoarded a lot of plants. I certainly have. This isn't even like a 20% of my plants. It's a problem at this point. It's taking over. It's a problem. Today, I'm going to teach you a very simple self-care plant spell. And this is great for taking care of yourself, and hopefully one of your plants will be doing well too. So that being said, step one is to pick a plant that resonates with you feel connected to, or you feel very bonded to. I myself picked a plant years ago. I got it as cuttings gifted from a mentor of mine. I was going through a kind of rough spot in my life at the time. It was like my early 20s. I worked a really awful job. I was living in a very dark apartment that constantly shook from industrial fans that blew what I really hope was burned restaurant food up into my apartment. It was Manhattan. It was probably like dead cockroaches and rats. But I'm going to lie to myself and say it was hamburger because I don't. It was gross. Anyway, during the time I got these cuttings from my mentor, left them in water, propagated them. They got the roots. Eventually planted one of them, the only one that survived, and it grew despite having like no light and awful air quality into a very gangly, long plant with like a few leaves on top. It was essentially just a stick with leaves, which if you know me, I was like, hey, this plant looks like me. I'm super tall. I'm really gangly. This plant looks like me. Cut to, I'm a witch a few years later, and I was like, I'm going to pick this plant. This plant has filled out a little bit more, so it looks a little bit less like me. But yeah, maybe I filled out a little more. I've been really liking Velveeta since the pandemic. Just not good for anyone. Anyway, so let's go to step 2. You're going to name your plant after yourself. So, meet Lindsay. Lindsay. It's going to seem really weird and unnatural to name your plant after yourself and kind of narcissistic, which is fine. Deal with it. You're going to have to. The next step is you're going to want to plant your little plant of yourself into a pot or a bowl or a planter that you really like. This one I picked up super cheap on sale from Anthropology. You can see it has like a little eye on it, which I love. It doesn't have any drainage holes, which sucks for plants in general. I haven't had an issue with it. This plant type is pretty tough, so I think it's doing okay. As a little bonus step, I've added a rose quartz crystal into my pot. Lindsay needed a little extra support while growing. Plus, rose quartz, a lot of good vibes, a lot of love. It just made sense. If your plant needs support, give it support. So this is the next step and the most important step. It's going to become more of a habit. You're going to compliment your plant a lot. You're going to talk to your plant a lot. So you're going to say all the things to your plant that you should be telling yourself or things to encourage your plant. This is going to seem really unnatural at first. You'll get used to it, especially if you're a person who just talks to themselves all the time like me. So you're going to say all the things that you need to hear and your plant needs to hear. Do not say mean things to your plant. Do not let that little voice in your head that says mean things to you say things to this plant, because that's not cool. Stop doing it to yourself. Don't do it to your plant. It's not healthy. So, that being said, you're going to go up to your plant and be like, oh, your leaves are so perky. Look at you. You're looking fabulous. Look how thick your stem is. You are so strong. You can do anything. There's some other good plant compliments. Looking real green. Get creative with it. Have fun. It doesn't really. This is lighthearted. Don't take this too seriously. If you're not having fun doing this, you're not going to keep doing it, and that's going to be a problem. That being said, what you're going to do after that, you're going to meditate with your plant quite a bit. I keep mine on my altar, which you're going to want to pick a good place for your plant as well. Make sure it gets enough light. Meditate with your plant. Say nice things to your plant continuously. Hopefully you'll start seeing some growth within a few months, or even weeks, depending on your type of plant. But it's important to cut your plant self a break. Like a plant, people's lives do not change overnight. You're not going to do this the first day, wake up and be like, wow, I feel amazing. I feel all better. All my problems are gone. Magic sometimes is a slow burn, and it takes time and growth, just like a plant. So your personal growth in this plant will hopefully end up corresponding. I recommend keeping a journal so you can keep track of your growth and your plant's growth and see if there is any sort of correlation between the two. Personally, during the pandemic, I picked up this habit again of talking to Lindsay, and I ended up seeing a lot of new growth. I kind of ended up going on a different path in my life, which is really interesting because I got a second branch on Lindsay going in a different direction. And I was like, that's interesting. So take good care of your plant. Say nice things to your plant. Make sure it's getting enough food and light and love, because that's important. And I really hope you and your plant do well. And who knows, maybe you'll end up on a new path yourself. But if you do this spell and you see anything interesting, let me know. I want to know. I think it's cool. Anyway, good luck to you and your plants. I hope you both grow well. And holy crap, I hope 2021 is better, guys. If not, just talk to your plant more and hope for the best. Hello. You probably thought it was the end of the video. I thought that would be the end of the video. We were both wrong. Very wrong. Because after filming that video, I looked at my plant and realized that Lindsay had stopped growing a while ago and I just hadn't noticed. So I decided to do something about it, which was I took my scissors and I cut I wanted to cut a bunch of little notches near the nodes and stimulate some growth. Instead, I cut off an entire branch and I cut off a bunch of leaves. And I remember I walked up to my boyfriend with a pile of foliage in my hands, and I was like, I wonder if this will have consequences. It did. It very much did. That's why this video hasn't come out. And that's why I needed to film a follow-up. So, those consequences were that I realized that I was not growing in my life. I was not actually following my dreams. And I did not like where I lived. So I quit my job and now I live 4 hours north of New York in Maine. So yeah, I cut my plant, which because of the spell that I have on Lindsay the plant, this is her now, I changed my entire life accidentally. I mean, it was a good thing for me, but be careful when trimming your plants. Be careful when watering your plants. Be careful when repotting your plants. The key takeaway of this follow-up is be careful with your plant spell because it will have repercussions that ripple through your entire life. Don't go crazy with the scissors unless you need to. I'm glad I did it. Would I do it again? Yeah, in a second, I would totally do that again. But let me show you now. So this is where Lindsay used to have all that beautiful growth coming out of. And I cut that off. And so obviously it's like a little shriveled stick now. And I'm now growing on a new path. Lindsay's growing on a new path. And we're doing great, guys. Remember how poor girl Magic used to live in one room with her cat and boyfriend? Guys, we have doors. Not just the bathroom door. There are multiple doors in this place. When you go through a pandemic lockdown for a year without a door and you both work from home, oh my God, that is, if you can make it through that as a relationship, you can make it through anything. Bring it on. But now we live in a place with multiple doors. You have no idea how excited I am. Oh, and there's closets. Guys, there's closets. Closets! Not just one closet, 2 closets. And one's kind of a walk-in. Anyway, this isn't about my new apartment. This is about your plant spells. So, be careful with your gardening shears, water, do all that. Be cautious with your plant spell. I can't say it enough. I just can't. Take good care of your plants. Take good care of little you. That being said, thanks for watching. Hopefully there are no more follow-up videos. Hopefully Lindsay and Lindsay both just keep growing on their merry ways. And good luck with your plant spells. Let me know how it goes. Feel free to ask questions. I'm very much available. And, like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. I'll be coming out with many more videos, much more frequently now. So, have a great day and happy gardening.